Well, hi there, Jeb.
Hi there, Zeb.
Man, I sure am feeling meaner than a cross-eyed snake. How about you?
I sure am feeling wilder than a tic-tac-toe tournament on a Thursday inside of a tadpole's toenail.
Are you ready to have more fun than a barn dance in a whirlwind?
You betcha.
Well, without further ado, let's get started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Bonus Features podcast. I am Robert.
And I'm Alex.
Took a bit of a week off there. I think that was probably due to Alex dealing with his bracket being busted or something, right?
That's true. I filled out a bracket like a good American. What did you do?
I did not fill out a bracket because I don't want to take time in researching what things like UMBC are, like colleges I've never heard of.
You mean colleges that you've never heard of that made history?
16 seed finally beating a 1 seed. That's pretty crazy.
135-1 now.
Yeah, it's a pretty wacky bracket season.
It's funny though, because everyone said Virginia was for sure the number one.
Yeah.
And they lost in the first round. I had them in the Elite Eight.
Well, hopefully we'll see if any of this is Loyola's for the taking.
At this rate, their brackets actually, the 1, 2, and 3 seed are gone now, I think.
That's pretty crazy.
Yep.
But anyway, getting into the first segment of the day, which is, of course, the news segment. We start off with a teaser trailer that was released for a film we talked about. I think it was the last episode. Death Kiss.
Yep.
You will remember this being the film starring the stunning look-alike of Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a short teaser. It's about 50 seconds, 45 seconds. Alex, what did you think about it?
I liked it. It looks fun. And this time around, they basically confirm that there's no mistaking that this is a blatant rip-off of Death Wish.
Yes, it's even like, it's kind of weird how this one in many ways resembles like the remake that just came out with Bruce Willis, because like...
Yeah, with the radio host,
yeah,
I thought that. It's like, so you're you're lifting the plot from the old one, and whatever it seemed new in the new one, you're using that to make an amalgamated rip-off.
Yes, and I mean, the biggest allure for this, for me, is just, it's going to be, 90 minutes of me being like, how the hell does this guy look like Charles Bronson? It's just like, I don't get it. Like, he looks like it'll stop you in your tracks.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty striking how much he looks like him, and we discussed that last time a little bit. But other than that, the one thing I would say looks different than the other two, is this kind of feels like a more exaggerated, almost comic bookish universe.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of almost a Punisher movie of some sort.
Yeah, maybe like the first one with Thomas Jane.
Yeah, because there's moments in that where even though it was more grounded than, let's say, like a Fantastic Four movie, it still felt
over the top.
Sort of over the top.
My favorite scene in that is the one with the guitar player and guitar playing assassin or whatever he is, and he just kills him with a ballistic knife. But that's neither here nor there. But Death Kiss, it is a movie starring Charles Bronson, but
by
not really.
Rene Perez or Reen Perez? What's his name?
Rene Perez. I don't know how you pronounce it.
I think it's Reen. I don't know. We don't know how to pronounce it. But
to each his own on that front. But,
tomato.
Yes, and this is going to be coming out when?
I don't think it has a release date yet, but it's sometime this year.
Okay.
Next item on the docket, I'm very excited to announce this. Nick Cage, the man, the myth, the legend, will be indeed playing Superman on the big screen. However, it will be in animated form. He's voicing Superman in the Teen Titans Go movie coming out this summer.
Yes, at long last, we have Nick Cage as Superman. He was, of course, fabled to be Superman in, what was it called? Superman Lives, Tim Burton's Superman movie back in the 90s that didn't happen. And now he's going to be, indeed, Superman in this Teen Titans Go to the Movies movie. A lot of mixed feelings about, not necessarily this casting, but the movie itself. But I think everybody, when they saw this casting, they were like, well, now you have my attention, because this is a dream of not just the entire world, but Nick Cage's.
Right.
Being a huge Superman fan that he is.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. He has one of the surviving copies of Action Comics #1 and all that.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Named his kid Kal-El.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. That's a little much.
I know.
But yeah, I'm excited to see him play this role, and I hope it's a sort of sizable role.
Yeah.
I know that, I mean, the show I'm kind of half and half, like, there's episodes I really like and think are funny, and I'm kind of amazed it's for kids.
Yeah.
And then there's ones where I watch it thinking this is terrible.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that too. This show's been just destroyed by fans because, you know, rightfully there's an attachment to the original show, which is fantastic. I never really...
Oh, you mean destroyed as in people are too harsh on it, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, I will have Cartoon Network on during the day because I'll be, you know, getting up in the morning from after watching Adult Swim at night, and I'll see some Teen Titans Go episodes that are, like, fine. You know?
Yeah.
It's, I don't want to say an offensive show because there is some stuff on it that's pretty extreme, but it's, like, it's just a show, you know? And...
So what do you think, how do you think the movie's going to be?
You know, there are some things with the movie I'm actually really... I know we kind of agree on, which is, like, the entire cast from the show is voicing everybody. Like, it's Scott Menville, Greg Sipes, Carrie Payton, Tara Strong. Like, it's all that. They didn't replace anybody. They didn't bring in, you know, like Anna Kendrick to voice Starfire or whatever. It's all of them.
I hate when they do that, though. It's like, who has... It's like, oh, Ethan Hawke. Yep, he's got a voice made for cartoons.
Yeah, I definitely... I liked seeing that because I'm like, okay, cool. So they care about the voice actors. Yeah. But there are some big names here. Obviously, Nicolas Cage being one of the other ones. I think it was like Will Arnett is going to play Slade, which is like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Lil Yachty is going to be playing the Green Lantern.
Oh, he's going to be John Stewart?
John Stewart, I'd imagine. Okay. So I'm like, okay. It's different.
I've never heard that guy talk, though. Does he have, like, a unusual voice?
I don't know.
As long as you've got that, so it's not just like, oh, Helen Hunt. Yep. Yeah. Nothing screams out animated, larger-than-life character than Ethan Hawke and Helen Hunt.
Yeah, it's like going back to, like, I would say, like, one of, like, the best cast animated movies is, like, Monsters, Inc. It's like you have Billy Crystal, John Goodman, and, like, Steve Buscemi, who all have, like, very distinct voices.
Right.
But this looks interesting.
And hopefully one of the takeaways from this, if it's successful, of course, is that the studios realize that you can use voice actors and regular movie stars both in these types of animated movies.
Right, which is what it seems like Teen Titans Go is doing.
Right.
Moving on, our next story is actually another update on a movie we talked about in a previous episode. J.C. Chandor's Triple Frontier has started filming. It started filming a little bit earlier than we thought it would. I think we said it would start in summer, but it's currently filming in Hawaii. There's also been some additions to the cast. Oscar Isaac is co-starring in the film with Ben Affleck, as well as Garrett Hedlund and Charlie Hunnam. And we also have a logline here, and it is thus: loyalties are tested when 5 friends reunite to take down a South American drug lord, unleashing a chain of unintended consequences. And all of this in mind, even though I haven't seen a trailer, I'd say I'm pretty much in. I think I'm the same amount of, in as I was before. I don't know how you feel about it, but...
I think the casting definitely helps alleviate some of my concerns, because I remember I was talking about Netflix. But with this cast, hopefully that should be a sign of good things to come. And I really like this log line. It sounds like a fun adventure movie.
Right. With some crime elements in there, too.
And I think one of the things that makes this interesting, aside from it just being another action movie, is that the location seems like a ideal place for an adventure movie. And I kind of like when you use a setting that is a real place, and then you kind of look at it and think, whoa, this exists in real life?
I like that.
So it should be cool to see the Triple Frontier being utilized.
Yes.
In the synonymous title of the movie, Triple Frontier.
Yes.
Next up, James Wan is working on a slasher movie entitled There's Someone Inside Your House, based on a young adult novel. It is said to be a coming-of-age slasher movie. In a way, aren't all slasher movies coming-of-age films?
In a weird way.
You have to learn how to survive.
Yes.
And it's like learning how to be an adult.
Yes. All too quickly.
All too quickly.
Yes.
It's like, my teenage life is so hard. Now your friends are dead. Gotta do something.
Yeah.
But yeah, but no, kidding aside, that should be a fun angle to work with, because I feel like usually, especially in slasher movies, it's really, oftentimes it's not necessarily a coming of age thing. It's more, this person survives because they're smarter than their dumb friends.
Yeah.
Such as Nancy in Nightmare on Elm Street. Mm-hmm. You know, even though she gets tormented by Freddy, she handles it better. She's just, you know, she kind of figures it out.
Yeah.
And then the rest of her friends don't.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely, anything James Wan, my ears prick up. I'm interested to see what he's got going on. You know, he's dabbled in, like, spooky, scary, haunted house horror and, like, torture porn horror. But he's never really done slasher type stuff before. So I'm interested to see, I mean, he's not really directing this. But I've never really
that's right. He's just producing.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see him, you know, kind of tap his toe into a different kind of horror.
Yeah, exactly. And I think your point still remains, even if he's not directing. He seems like the kind of guy who'd be pretty hands-on as a producer.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, so there's someone inside your house. That's a project to keep an eye out for.
Our next story is Rob Zombie's Devil's Rejects sequel, 3 from Hell, has started filming. And I'm anxious to hear your thoughts on this because I know you have mixed feelings on Rob Zombie's films, but some of them you like, some of them you really don't like. I imagine you like Devil's Rejects, though.
Yes, I like both of those movies, and again, they're not for everyone, and I mean really not for everyone, because they're extremely dark. Because it was actually funny, one of my friends was asking me, because like he and I will just shoot the shit, and he'll just ask me about movies and stuff, and he'll tell me what he's watching. He said, "Have you seen Devil's Rejects?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm not sure you're gonna like this one. It's not for everyone." And then about an hour later, apparently he didn't finish it. He said, "Yeah, not for me."
Yeah.
But sorry, what were you saying?
No, he's definitely, he's got a very specific, you know, tone and, you know, kind of tenor for film. But Devil's Rejects, I would say, is probably his most accessible movie in a way.
Kind of. I mean, but that's not a word.
It's not really saying much.
Yeah, because I mean, of the things I've seen from him, I liked him.
Yeah.
Okay, let me take that back, because the Halloween remake I really liked, and I know that was pretty divisive.
Yes.
Because a lot of people were against the whole idea of showing Michael Myers as a kid. They're saying, no, it's better when it's a mystery. And I agree for the most part, but it was done so well that I kind of didn't care. This second one took it a little too far, and by a little too far, I mean way too far. Because, you know, Rob Zombie actually directed a scene from Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Really?
It's the part where Beavis and Butthead meet their dads. Well, it's implied, so they do a bunch of peyote or something.
Okay.
And then they just have these crazy hallucinations in the desert.
Nice.
So it's basically like that scene, but in an uncomedic way for the entire movie is kind of what Halloween 2 felt like.
Okay. I got his filmography here.
Yeah.
How do you feel about House of a Thousand Corpses?
That's the first one, yeah.
Yeah, you like that?
I like that a lot.
Halloween 1 you like, Devil's Rejects you like, Halloween 2 you don't really care for.
Did not like.
Have you seen Lords of Salem?
Is that the one with the record?
I have no idea.
Is that...
It's the one with the poster that looks like this.
Yeah.
That's
the one where she works at a radio station. She's a DJ. I watched part of that when I was really tired.
Okay.
So I fell asleep, but I did not sleep well because it was good in being creepy.
Okay, that's good.
I want to see the rest of that.
He had another recent movie come out in 2016 called 31.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
That was on my radar, but it's just sometimes these smaller movies, they can just, you know, kind of elude me. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of irritating. Sometimes I'll try and keep an eye on it, and I'll search for them online, and when I can't find anything still, I just sit there thinking, great, so how am I supposed to see this?
Yeah.
But I guess a lot of that, you're supposed to do the on-demand.
Yeah.
But I'd prefer to see new things in theaters. That's just me.
Well, it's definitely, you know, Rob Zombie's definitely been prolific as a director.
Right.
And this 3 from Hell is going to be another addition to that filmography, which is interesting.
Well, there's part of me that's wondering, how is this going to work? Mm-hmm. Spoilers.
Yeah, things happen at the end of Devil's Rejects.
Right, so spoiler alert. Again, old movie, so too bad, so sad. Anyway, at the end of Devil's Rejects, all 3 of them are killed in a shootout with the cops.
Yeah.
You know, sort of a guns blazing last stand.
Yes.
Now, I wonder, are they Not dead. Oh, all 89 bullets missed all vital points.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Either that, or is it supernatural, or is it something like... Because, they're like a family.
Yes.
So, is it something the family's bigger, or whatever, or flashbacks? Well, actually, while on the subject of the who and the why, what's the cast look like?
Well, I was going to say on IMDb, granted some of this, who knows if it's accurate fully, but Sid Haig is back.
Okay.
Sherry Moon Zombie is back.
Baby and Captain Spaulding.
Yes, and then Bill Moseley's back as Otis Firefly.
Right.
So, yeah, a lot of these characters are back in the film, it seems as though.
Does it mention does it have any description about the plot?
Not exactly anything, no. It just says it's a sequel to Devil's Rejects.
Okay, so it says the word, but who knows what that means anymore? Like,
yeah.
In between,
Yeah. Reimagining.
Reboot.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Again, I'm excited for this, and I had no idea this was coming, which is the funny part.
Me neither.
Usually I hear a murmur of this somewhere, or these kinds of stories, especially with someone like Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad to see he's getting to work again. Next up, Adult Swim has a new show coming out called Ballmastrz 9009, and it's from the creator of Super Jail, Christy Caracas. And I saw an ad for it, and I was pretty mesmerized by the crazy, sort of wacky and vibrant aesthetic that this show is displaying.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Super Jail. Those mass death sequences from the show are, just great to just turn your brain off and watch.
Yeah.
And I also saw that ad on Adult Swim recently. And yeah, the show looks really interesting. It kind of looks like a mix between Super Jail and like Rollerball.
Yeah, I noticed that. I definitely saw shades of Rollerball, especially the older version.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell them what it's about, Robert?
So the show, which is of course created by Christy Caracas and produced by Titmouse, Ballmastrz 9009 is set in the titular year when the game has made sure there were no more wars, especially as the trailer shows, those suck-ass rad wars. It centers on Gaz Digsy, voiced by Natasha Lyonne, a washed-up superstar and notorious party gal who, after a spiral of destructive antics, is demoted to the Leptons, the worst team in the game. Her only way back to the top is to somehow lead these pathetic misfits and ultimate losers to victory. As I mentioned, Natasha Lyonne's in the cast, but it also features some Adult Swim veterans like Dana Snyder, who is, of course, Master Shake on Aqua Teen, Hunger Force, Dave Willis, who plays Meat Wad and Carl on Aqua Teen as well. There's also some guest stars that are going to be on this show, one of them being Norman Reedus, which should be, a good pull for getting those Walking Dead fans in after their, watching of Walking Dead on that Sunday, to tune in later that night to watch an episode of Ballmastrz 9009.
Oh yeah, that's right, because it's going to be on Sundays.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm interested to see how, those really big, vibrant death sequences transfer into a show about sports. Maybe there's just one sequence where it's just a wacky play going on, or the ball being thrown around to a bunch of different players who are getting taken out. I don't know, I think about this show and my mind goes to good places.
Right. I think the funny thing I kind of took away from it is, who knows what the rules are to this game? It just seems like a generic sort of futuristic version of football, I guess. Football more like handball or football or something of that ilk that just kind of looks like a generic violent sort of sport. And I kind of got the same impression from Rollerball. Because Rollerball's rules seem to be something to do with roller derby, sort of.
Yeah.
You had to put the ball in the hole or something. So it was like roller derby and basketball, but it's who cares? I think the point is it's just supposed to be a weird sport. And I guess that's just kind of also the point of the Ballmastrz game. Do they say what the sport is called, or do they just call it the game?
I think it's just referred to as the game.
Right, because it's it's taken the place of wars, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've always thought about something like that.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the Purge in a way,
Yeah, but it's sort of...
or Hunger Games.
With more willing participants, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about this because it's been a while since I've seen an animated show that's as outrageous and outlandish as Super Jail.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that Christy Caracas is back again with this new show.
Yeah, I was definitely feeling Super Jail's absence, and it's good to see another show around the corner like it.
Right. Because I think the thing about Super Jail, and seemingly from what I've seen in the trailer of this, it's a perfect mix of the new and old. So you're borrowing from like older cartoons such as
Looney Tunes.
Yeah, Looney Tunes for sure.
Yeah,
and
Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry, Tex Avery. The really and some of the more frantic stuff, such as the Looney Tunes shorts specifically from Friz Freleng.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad to see that, but also sort of combine the modern ridiculous inappropriateness that you find in shows like South Park. And as much as I was sort of bummed when Super Jail was canceled, since they had a gap, I'm kind of glad they Christy Caracas decided to make something entirely new instead. Because Super Jail, I think it was great, but who knows how much longer it would have been good for.
Yeah.
So I think making a new show, especially with this concept, I really like this concept, I think was the better route to go.
I agree.
So Robert, when and where can I watch this show?
So this show will be premiering on April 8th at midnight on Adult Swim.
And what is it called again?
It is called Ballmastrz 9009.
And how do you spell that?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because it's not the way you'd expect. It's Ballmastrz. Ballmastrz 9009, yes.
All right, well, be on the lookout for that, everybody.
Yes.
Okay, Robert, so I finally saw the trailer, which I've been waiting for a while for. The Action Point trailer starring Johnny Knoxville.
Yes.
Looks good.
I also saw this, and I'm pretty impressed by the trailer. The movie is about, I actually have the synopsis here. It's about DC, played by Johnny Knoxville, a crackpot owner of Action Point, a low-rent, out-of-control amusement park where the rides are designed with minimum safety for maximum fun. Just as DC's estranged teenage daughter Boogie comes to visit, a corporate megapart opens nearby and jeopardizes the future of Action Point. To save his beloved theme park and his relationship with his daughter, DC and his loony crew of misfits risk everything to pull out all the stops and stunts, making for another wild ride. And I guess for those who haven't seen the trailer, the format of this movie is sort of like a Jackass movie, where there are real stunts and real, there's real goofery going on. But kind of in the vein of like Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa, all these stunts are worked into the plot, and they're kind of supplemental to a main story that is at the center of the film. And the trailer, I thought the trailer looked really, really solid, and you can definitely tell the stunts, they fit into the plot, and they
Right.
they're supposed to be cinematic looking, but you defically tell that these guys are hurting themselves.
Oh, for sure. And that's the thing I was going to say is in a lot of newer comedies, there's this sort of overdone science fiction-y look to stunts. It doesn't look very funny. It just sort of looks like...
Fake.
Yeah, it just looks really fake, and at least sometimes it looks like it's like hybrid CGI stunts.
Yeah, that
and
happens.
this looks like the stunts are just simple, back-to-form slapstick.
Yeah.
Which I've been, sorely missing.
Yeah, I think one of the big movies that I first saw that in was the Daddy's Home trailer, where there's a stunt or there's a bit where Will Ferrell's character he's on a half pipe and he skateboards up the top and goes up and hits power lines, and it just looks really fake and clearly CGI'd, whereas Action Point, a lot of the stunts in here are
it's just people getting hurt.
It's people getting hurt, and
let's not deny that can sometimes, especially when the Jackass guys are doing it, it can be funny.
Oh yeah, and especially I hope everything works out, because Johnny Knoxville is a 47-year-old man.
Yeah,
and he is doing some stuff in this where I'm like, dude,
that's
just be careful, man.
That's kind of the thing that I'm amazed at, is that he's that old and he's still doing this. Mm-hmm. Whereas, when Jackie Chan does something, the ideal situation, he still gets hurt every now and then filming these things. But ideally, he does something that's like, oh, wow, that was thrilling, and that looked hard as hell to do.
Yeah.
Not, wow, that looks like that hurt like all hell.
Yeah. And there's There's some of these stunts are like no slouch. Like there's a
No.
stunt where Johnny Knoxville's like catapulted in like a barn, and it like if you look closely, it like doesn't work. Like he's supposed to go through like this like door, and he like kind of hits the bottom of it. It's just like, but I mean, I'll be there to watch it. It looks like a fun movie.
It also looks like a good return to the sort of summer camp-esque subgenre.
Yeah.
You know, you remember movies like Camp Nowhere? Mm-hmm. And, of course, my favorite camp movie of all time,
What's that?
Wet Hot American Summer,
Oh, I thought you were going to say Sleepaway Camp.
which is also a solid film.
Yes, but
Also.
different genre.
Different genre.
Yes.
It's a horror. I think it's a pretty funny movie, too, but
Yeah.
the sequels, if you told me they weren't just blatant comedies, how would I know?
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I just think it's good that there's a it looks like a sort of classic summer movie, because this isn't necessarily about a summer camp, but it has a lot of the same vibes.
Yeah.
And it's been a while since I've seen a good movie about summer.
A lot of water slides, a lot of people jumping into lakes, and
Yeah,
yeah.
just classic sunny day summer movie kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Same. Now we're gonna move on to the review portion. We've got a couple reviews this time. We're going to start with A Wrinkle in Time, which Robert saw and I did not see. So, Robert, tell me about A Wrinkle in Time.
Well, this was my choice to see.
Actually, yeah, I want to start with that. So, this to me looked like not for me.
Yeah.
Like a kid's movie that didn't really have any crossover interest with me, and I thought it looked terrible.
Yes.
Based on the trailer.
Yes, so did I.
So, my first question is, why did you see this?
Well, I heard some, not contradictory, but I was expecting this thing to get panned. And it kind of didn't. You know, the people that I follow, be it YouTube or just in print or whatever, they were kind of just like, it's just not a good movie. You know, it's kind of meh. And I'm like, oh, so maybe I'll end up liking it more than I thought. I was wrong. It's a horrible movie.
Okay.
It's a god-awful movie.
Okay, so have you read the book?
I have not read the book. But I did look over the plot synopsis for the book afterwards. Because I was so baffled that I'm like, there's no way. There's no way this movie is true to this book. It's got to be getting something wrong. But it's actually pretty close.
Okay.
It's you know, the movie starts out and you get like one scene.
Hold up. Okay, let's just, since I don't care about this movie, full spoilers. Go
Well,
ahead.
I mean, there's not much to spoil here.
Well, whatever. Just
because I don't know what the hell's going on in this movie for a lot of it.
Okay.
But
Go
so
on.
the movie starts out, and you know we were given a family. Meg Murray, who's very young at the beginning of this movie, played by Storm Reed. Her mom, played by Gugu Mbatha-Raw, and her dad, played by Chris Pine. Her parents are like, I don't know, they're sciencey people. And they're like trying to discover a way to travel through space and time and shit. And they're, you know, the first scene is actually one of the better scenes. I was watching this scene, and it's just a scene between them, and they're just like talking to her about, you know, like lovey-dovey stuff, like telling their daughter, like, yeah, we love you, and love is the most powerful force in the universe, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool. This is about what I expected from a Disney movie. Cool. It's after this scene, it goes 3 years later, cut to 3 years later. Storm Reed's like lying in her bed. She's older now, of course, and Chris Pine is gone. He has disappeared, and she has a new brother who's adopted, and his name is Charles Wallace Murray. And you hear this kid's name, and it's like, okay, Charles Wallace Murray. So they call him like Chuck or Wally or Charlie. No, they call him Charles Wallace fucking Murray for the whole goddamn movie, and it's so awkward.
Wait, all through, why?
I don't know. It felt like, you know what it felt like to me? Every time they called him, they're like, Charles Wallace, come back. I'm like, it felt like they were speaking to the character in the book, you know, like as written, and not the actor. You know, it's just like, it just felt, and this is just one of the many problems. So we move on, and we see the kids at school, and it's the 3-year, who cares, anniversary of Chris Pine's disappearance.
Okay.
And Storm Reed's at her locker, and you see like shitty, cliquey girls nearby, like laughing at her, and like on her.
Oh God, are they like the kids in Halloween 4?
Almost.
Like you know what I'm talking about in Halloween 4 when Jamie or whatever.
Yeah. I think you know what you're talking about.
No, not whatever. The niece of Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
Kids just circle around her like, haha, like your parents are dead.
Yeah,
or like
it's that.
Like something. It's like, are people that like kids even that shitty?
Yeah, no. There's a note on her locker, and it's like, "Happy anniversary. Hope you disappear next." And I'm like, holy shit! It's just like, this isn't how bullies act. Bullies just take the easiest thing. They don't do research. It's just like, you're fat, and it's like, I know. And then that's it.
I was just about to say, like, that seems like what a bully'd be like. He isn't like, now it's going to take a lot of work. Start the montage. He's in the library.
Yeah.
Push it to the limit.
I mean, it's like borderline sociopathy, where I'm like, okay, weird. This isn't how people act in movies.
Okay, so she found, like, the worst kids, like, but
Oh, yeah.
all of them just happened to go to her school.
But you know what? I'll look at it and be like, all right, that's kids.
Whatever.
Kids do stupid
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
So minutes later, the adopted brother, is like sitting against like a chain link fence in the gym or in the yard or whatever, and there are two teachers like nearby. Like, I don't know if they're on their smoke break or some shit.
What are they just sitting there like?
No, they're behind him, and they're like out of, they think they're out of earshot, and they don't know he's nearby, and they're like openly talking about his dad. Like, well, it's the 4-year anniversary of the Murray kid's dad's disappearance, and they're like, he's never gonna come back. He's probably in Tijuana with some broad. Like, I'm shit you not. It's like,
was that the line?
Well, it's not that word for word, but it's on the, like, in the same vein of that. It's like they're saying, like, they're talking shit about these parents, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, who's writing this? I'm like, what's going on here? This isn't how people talk. And then from this point on, it's like, oh my god, like, characters start showing up. Reese Witherspoon shows up in their like living room and like just starts talking to the brother like as if she's known him his whole life, and he's like, yeah, I know you too. You're Mrs. Whatsit, and you're one of the witches,
hold
Mrs.
on.
the Mrs.'s or whatever the hell. And
Slow your stroll. So,
I
wait,
wish
hold
I
on.
could.
What? She just appears out of nowhere.
She appears out of nowhere.
Do they give any explanation?
They try.
Or like, do they imply it? Or like, is it like he has a storybook that has pictures?
Okay, yeah. There is that in the beginning. You see him drawing like Mrs. Whatsit.
Okay,
like,
that's kind of important because to me, what you just described is this kid's dad disappeared. Oh, by the way, here's some like witch character.
It's not much better than that though. Like, we pretty much all we see is like him drawing like drawings of these three women, and it's like, okay, cool. And then she shows up and she's like, "Hi, Charles Wallace," and he's like, "Hi, Mrs. Whatsit," and I'm like, what? How do you know each other? What's going on? And it's never explained. It's just like they just know each other.
Well, because he drew her.
Yeah, but it's like,
I mean, I didn't even see this movie, and I figured that out.
Yeah, but he didn't create her. They've been around forever, and it's not like a fantasy. Like, this shit's real. Like, it's a real place.
How old is this kid supposed to be?
Like 7.
Okay, so he's 7. I don't know.
But
he thinks it's the drawing.
Yeah, but it's not though. Like, he's totally in on it. Like, so we meet Mindy Kaling's character, who's Mrs. Who, and
wait, is that their names? Like, seriously?
Yeah, it's Mrs. Whatsit, Mrs. Who, and then Oprah's Mrs. Witch.
Is this a?
Well, that's how it is in the book.
Is this? It sounds like a Dr. Seuss book.
Oh, it's close. It gets there, but
see, Dr. Seuss is silly on purpose. I don't know what the deal with this is.
This is kind of silly and it's serious at the same time, or at least trying to be. But so we meet Mindy Kaling, and she can only talk in quotes, and she says like, I don't know. She'll say like, an eye
the world's a stage.
Yeah, or like, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Gandhi, India, or some bullshit. And it's just like, okay.
Does she say it at the end of the quote?
Yeah, she says it at the end of the quote. And I'm like, that's kind of an idea for a character, but they fucking abandon it halfway through the movie, and it's like, like,
what's her name?
Mrs. Who.
Mrs. Who, what do we do? Well, as Shakespeare once said, fuck it.
Yeah, no, but it's like, she just starts talking to the characters, like, well, guys, I don't know, and they're like, Mrs. Who, why are you talking to us all regular? And Oprah's like, she's losing her magic or whatever, and I'm like, okay.
Don't you love magic rules? They don't
have to make sense,
but they
also kind of have to make sense. It's like,
but see, that's
there's got to be a pattern or a rhythm to it,
right? And usually, like, for example, bad science runs rampant in movies, obviously.
Yeah.
But who cares? As long as it makes sense enough, as long as you can suspend your disbelief and get the basic idea. But that's something that's always bugged me about magic. well, I just did a counter reverse spell to your counter reverse spell.
Yeah.
So it cancels out, and I win. It's like, what is this, a deck of Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
Yeah, it's like, what is this? Like, you're 5 years old in the sandbox and you're just making shit up.
Infinity +1.
Yeah, it's like... So, we meet Mrs. Who. We meet Mindy Kaling. And then, at this place, Meg Murray and Charles Wallace Murray are, like, tailed home by
Meg
this
Murray
friend.
being the...
Storm Reed, the little girl.
Main character.
Yeah. So, they're, like, tailed by, like, this kid who's, like, just, like, a friend in school.
Yeah.
And they just kind of take him along. I don't know why. I shit you not, it's not explained. The explanation is, like, so they're about to go off to whatever the hell, some part in the universe with the missuses.
Well, hold up. Okay,
Yes.
so they meet these missuses or
Yes.
whatever, and some kid just, like, creeps out of a dumpster or something, like, wait, take me too.
Well, yeah, he's like, I saw you, there's a scene where Storm Reed's character, Meg Murray, she, like, bitches out against one of the bullies and, like, throws a ball at her head, like a dodgeball at her head, and it's whatever. And he, like, sees it. There's, like, one, like, fleeting shot of him, like, looking at it and, like, smiling. And then he comes in later and is like, I saw what you did at school. That was awesome. And she's like, okay, cool. We got to go now. And then Charles Wallace Murray's like, no, he has to come too. And she's like, why? And he's like, it was meant to be, or some dumb bullshit. I swear to God, it's the line. It's like, it's meant to be. He has to come too. And I'm like, what? What do you mean, though? Like, please explain. It's just really not. And I was just floored. Like, I was, this is Ava DuVernay's follow-up to Selma. Like, that'd be like Steve McQueen following up, like, 12 Years a Slave with, like, Son of the Mask. It's just like,
Is it
what
that
is...
bad? Hold on. That's really saying something.
It's approaching that. It's like, I thought you made, like, serious movies.
Or it's like Mark Webb making Spider-Man.
It's close to that, too. It's similar to that.
That's the thing, though, is I feel like this is it annoys me so much that I see this all the time. Yes, some people can cross over, but I don't get why studios think that it's a sure bet so many times. Oh, no, yeah. These movies with $15 million and they're much more serious in subject matter. Yes, trust this person with $200 million crazy movies.
Yeah, and it's, that was the, the name of Ava DuVernay's career. She made, Selma's one of her only feature-length films. Everything else is documentaries on, like, the African-American male's experience in American prison system.
Oh,
and, like,
the 13th or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like...
I've heard that's good.
It's just...
And I'm sure it is.
I'm sure it is, too, but this isn't.
Based on what you're describing, sounds like a boring movie.
Yeah, it's not great. So I guess I'll explain it up to a point. They go home, they bring this kid with...
Just speed it along
Yeah,
here.
they bring this kid with... Then they go out into the yard to see that Mindy Kaling and Reese Witherspoon are back. And, like, they're like, time to go.
Where's Oprah?
Well, here we go. Oprah astrally projects herself in, but...
What, she's like, oh, I'm just going to Skype into this.
Pretty much. She's like, wah, 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 wah. She shows up and it's like, I'm here, children, blah, blah, blah. And here's the kicker. She's 3 stories tall.
Is she?
Yes. She astrally projects herself in.
Okay, great.
I'm glad you didn't ask why. Because
really,
I don't know.
I don't even care.
So they whisk them off and they tesser, quote unquote, into another planet. And it's like a flowery planet. And
okay, where is this going? Like, what is the plot of this movie?
Well, they want to find the dad.
Oh, right.
I did leave that out. The missuses say, like, we know your dad's somewhere. He's not dead. He's, just somewhere. He's missing.
Okay,
and
so,
we heard him call out to us, and we need you to help us find him.
Okay, that's kind of an important detail.
Yes, that's why we leave.
Okay.
So we're at this planet, and, they ask these flowers, where the dad was, because the dad was at this planet, and the flowers talk to them. Then they start flying off to where the dad goes.
Okay.
Reese Witherspoon turns into the flower woman from Fantasia 2000. She puts the children on her back, and they fly off into the sky as Mindy Kaling and Oprah watch. And Oprah is still 3 stories tall, by the way. They haven't fixed this problem. So they encounter this evil called the It, which is basically just
Bill Skarsgård?
No, it's not Bill Skarsgård, sadly. It's not even a villain, really. It's just an idea. It's kind of like the Nothing from, like, Neverending Story. It's just evil. It's just sadness.
Okay.
And it's responsible for everything that's shitty happening on Earth. And they realize, oh no, Chris Pine is on the planet where the it is, and the planet is called like Kazazats or something. It's called like it's something ridiculous.
Stupid fake planet name.
So they go to this planet called Kazazats or whatever. And the brother, the adopted brother, is lured away by Michael Pena with red eyes.
He's in this?
Yeah, for a scene.
Oh.
And he is like turned, like he becomes evil. Like the it infects him and he becomes evil. And looking back on it, I was like laughing, but now I'm like angry. The kid's acting is really bad. Like he's supposed to like be pissed off and angry and supposed to be evil in this from this point on. And he's like a 7-year-old child. And it's like I like curse any adult involved in the casting process, saying like, yeah, this will go down fine. Like this kid will handle it. It's just like he doesn't. It's clear like this role is too difficult for this kid to handle. And like
that's not his fault. He's 7.
It's not. It's the people who cast him. It's
Right.
their fault. And I'm like, that pisses me off looking back. But it is funny to watch. Like some of these lines are just so poorly like rattled off.
I'm just getting bored listening to this. So they go to the bad planet, bad stuff happens, and eventually they find the dad.
They find the dad. They literally the girl, Chris Pine tessers back to Earth.
Yeah.
And the girl's like, no, you're leaving your family again. You're leaving. We got to save Charles Wallace. So she tessers back or whatever.
So this is just their like teleport
Yeah.
tessering. Okay.
Yeah.
So great.
And so she goes to this place, like the core of this planet, and she basically loves Charles Wallace. She loves the it out of Charles Wallace. Like, I love you, and I know that you love me too.
Okay, so it's sort of like a really cheesy, terrible version of the way to defeat Freddy in the first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. It's
okay.
And, she expels the it from him, and they're fine, and they test her back to Earth with Chris Pine and whatever.
Does he have like a 2-foot long beard?
He does have a beard. It's sadly not 2 feet long.
Well, if he's been gone that long and in this weird place,
it's like a scrubbly just like a
just
bushy
your
thing.
generic not long enough but implies that they've been gone a long time Hollywood beard.
Yeah, they didn't even
Okay.
get the beard right in this thing.
Right.
Oh,
But they never get I've been gone for 5 years beards, right?
yeah, and except in Castaway.
How were the missuses? Because when I saw a trailer, the thing that just immediately turned me off the movie, I thought these costumes just look so stupid.
They look like extras from Flash Gordon or
Right.
something,
Or you know what they look like?
What's
Imagine a country that shouldn't get the Olympics.
Okay.
Spends absurd amounts of money on the opening ceremony.
Yeah.
And just, we need funny costumes.
Yeah.
And then the one guy says, well, why don't we use, our traditional clothes? Then you've got like Joel Schumacher somehow producing this opening ceremony. No, we got crazy costumes.
Yeah. I mean, what I will say about The Misses is a problem with the entire movie, which is the acting. There isn't an overall like good performance in it, except for maybe Chris Pine, and he is mercifully not in it that long. And not mercifully on the audience, mercifully on his cred as an actor. He's fine overall. Every actor in this has at least a couple scenes that are really bad, like really poorly delivered.
Okay.
That including Oprah, Mindy Kaling, and Reese Witherspoon. Here's the thing. I get why. Ava DuVernay is a talent, as a director, as a creator. I get why they'd be like, yeah, I'd work with her. I love Selma. But the problem is, the script, though. The script for this movie. Did you read the script? Come on, man.
Still, though, it seems like a movie like this, even though I had no interest in it, it seems like a movie that should have been done better.
Yeah. There is some enjoyment in this. There's some funny bad scenes. Like there's a scene where I mentioned they're flying on the back of Reese Witherspoon when she's the giant flower woman from Fantasia 2000.
Okay.
They fly past Oprah, who again is still 2 stories tall, and the little Charles Wallace kid like reaches out and like strokes her cheek, and it's like
that's so weird.
It's not even weird. It's just so dumb. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Why the hell is Oprah massively huge? There's another scene where after I mentioned Michael Pena, he evilizes this brother and he takes him off, and these kids run after him and they find him eventually, and Michael Pena's all of a sudden a puppet. I shit you not, he's on strings, and like the kid is like standing
like a
next to him.
Muppet style puppet, or
like a
marionette.
Pinocchio style puppet.
Okay.
Like a yeah, and he's just like all of a sudden a puppet. That's it.
Was it CGI'd or was it a real puppet?
I don't know. It's like him on strings. He's got like strings attached to him, and he's like in a weird position that he looks like he's an uncontrolled puppet. It's bad. That's my biggest criticism. Is just it's almost too broad strokes of a criticism. But like this movie doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. It doesn't sound like it makes much sense.
No, it's like
the only linear takeaway is that
they're trying to find the dad.
to try and find the dad, they do it through these, what is it, alternate dimensions or different planets,
Yeah, they
universes?
they
what
like
is it?
the movie's kind of a misnomer because they don't really time travel. They like wrinkle through space is what the freaking title should be.
So it should be A Wrinkle Through Space.
Yeah, because they go to different planets.
How are the special effects, at least?
I mean, they vary. Some of them are okay. Some of them are pretty bad. Some of the green screen is not great. Some of the effects are okay. A lot of it's just like...
Well, I mean, I'd expect some of the effects to be okay in a
it felt like
million-plus movie.
Yeah, and it felt like a lot of these effects were okay, and a lot of these sequences were as, like, I guess, vibrant as they were for a purpose. And I thinking about it, I get, a little, what's the word? I have bad feelings thinking about why these sequences were as vibrant as they were. Because there was a little, what do you call it? Like, not a preview, but like a thing before the movie that said it was a Disneyland like commercial, and it was like, look at all the new worlds we have coming to Disneyland. It's like we have Toy Story Land, we have what do you call it, land? Marvel Land, and like we're developing a Star Wars land, and I'm like, oh God, don't tell me they're trying to do this with A Wrinkle in Time, because that's what like it felt like an excuse, like, oh well, we'll have this scene where they fly around on the back of Reese Witherspoon. Because wouldn't that make a cool like world or like ride for people to go on? It's just like
similar to the much complained about casino scene in
Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And that's another issue I have. Disney in general. It's like
I get what you're saying. It's fine if you're doing things to make money, but don't be so blatantly obvious about it all the time. As long as you give us a story that's enjoyable and a movie experience that was worthwhile. And then you make toys or T-shirts or whatever, go nuts.
Yeah, and you see that's the problem. A while back, this PowerPoint that Disney had at like one of their board meetings went viral, and it was about them and their mission statement for how they're going to make movies for like the next 10 years. And like one of the big things in there was like the stories have to be good, otherwise no one's going to like them. And I just remember watching this and just being floored. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a Disney movie this bad in like recent memory. Like even Lone Ranger was like, I got it. Like I got what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
This is just it's like indecipherably stupid. And I was just shocked from beginning to end.
Okay, so my final question is one of two final questions. Was it at least as good as Good Burger?
No. Good Burger is funny. This isn't even funny. And like Good Burger has a scene where a giant burger lands on Sinbad's car, and that's not in this.
That's true.
But I mean, there's rarely a scene in this that is enjoyment that is unironic.
So yeah, I'm going to assume you're going to give this a 1 out of 5, 2 out of 10,
3.
A 3.
Because I will say, the effects are fine. Like there are
for the most part, they're fine.
Yeah, and
it just makes no sense.
It just makes no damn sense. Man, I'm going to be hard-pressed to find a worse film this year.
Yeah.
I am sorry if this has been a chore to listen to, but God, when I see a bad movie, man, it wrecks my life.
Yeah, this one sounds like a real downer.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Review number 2.
Okay. You saw a film that I actually really wanted to see. I loved the trailers for, and that was Gringo, starring David Oyelowo, Joel Edgerton, Charlize Theron, and directed by Joel Edgerton's brother, Nash Edgerton. Right. And I was actually pretty disappointed to hear that
I didn't think it was very good.
Yeah?
And I'm not saying it was abysmal by any means. I thought there was a few good scenes, and the acting was actually one of the stronger parts, but overall, it didn't work. It was kind of an experiment, because I was wondering what Amazon's first movie, at least as far as I know, Amazon's first production to go to theaters was going to be like. Mm-hmm. And it turned out to not be great. And it was weird, is the problems reminded me of a Netflix, direct-to-Netflix movie.
Yeah.
where the production is there mostly,
Mm-hmm.
the acting is there, but the script is just really not good. I would say the first half hour of this movie, first of all, they made the trailer make it seem like it was much more comedic, or at least the jokes in the trailer really landed, and there's a lot of awkward jokes that it was almost like, was that supposed to be comedic?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not saying you can't do the subtle jokes,
Right.
but some of them were clearly jokes that just fell flat and just weren't working, and the humor got better as the movie went on.
Okay.
I would say for the most part, but they just, I don't know. There was some like weird fixations on certain jokes. Like there was a drug lord character who loves the Beatles.
Okay.
And he kept making this joke like, what's the best Beatles album? And he shoots people if they say the wrong one.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't doing much for me.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that's because the tone jumped around a lot in this.
Really?
And you know how I'm not a huge stickler about that normally.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of felt like, where is this, like, what kind of movie is this supposed to be? A farce, a kidnapping thriller,
Mm-hmm.
a comedy? It just jumped around a lot, and unfortunately, some movies can do that, and I don't mind it, but it didn't work in this case. The things that I would say positively about it, because there were a few, some of the action sequences were decent, mostly towards the end, and the performances were great.
Okay.
Particularly David Oyelowo,
Yeah.
whatever. He was perfect as a character you're supposed to sympathize with.
Mm-hmm.
But they almost overdo it. It's like spoiler time. It's like his wife divorces him. He finds out that his job is being taken away, and that his best friend, who's not really his friend at all, played by Joel Edgerton, who's the CEO of the company, is basically firing him. So it's kind of ridiculous. All this bad shit happens all at once.
Yeah.
His life sucks.
Uh-huh.
So now he's gonna fake his own kidnapping.
Mm-hmm.
That was the other thing. It turns out the story is he fakes his own kidnapping to start, and then I guess actually gets kidnapped. I don't know.
Okay.
But there's a lot of subplots that didn't work, because it seemed like there was the mob, there was his company that he was working for, there's the fake kidnapping, then there's the real kidnapping, then there's a mercenary that is played by Sharlto Copley, who, sadly, his character was not great, and his acting was alright, but it just seemed kind of dumb. He was after David Oyelowo, because he was hired by Joel Edgerton's character, because they're brothers or whatever, and none of that was funny or worked really well. And I think the worst subplot was there's these two young Americans. Well, one has a British accent, but just make it easy. They're from America. The British guy and his girlfriend, wife, whatever, girlfriend, played by Amanda Seyfried. Their whole deal was completely unnecessary, and every time David Oyelowo ran into them in Mexico, it was just too coincidental. And it was because the kid was supposed to smuggle drugs from the factory.
Okay.
Because that's why he's there on a business trip or whatever, and he gets left behind. I don't know. There's just a little too much going on. And I don't mind if a plot is a little convoluted, but it has to be more entertaining as a movie if you're going to be that, all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's mostly what I thought about it. It didn't work for me entirely, and it was not awful, but it was not good.
What would you end up giving it?
Probably 2 out of 5.
Yeah, sounds about what the consensus is from everybody I'm hearing.
Because, okay, it was just short of watchable. The thing that I noticed is there are a couple times where I thought, I'm just supremely bored, and I just want this movie to end. And for a movie like this, I think it's a pretty long movie.
Really?
For something that was supposed to be mostly a comedy, an adventure comedy. I wouldn't even go as far as action comedy. I would say, at least it seemed like a Tropic Thunder type movie.
Right.
Where there's elements of action and adventure and that kind of stuff, but it's
Comedy
firstly, comedy first, and that was not the case. And this movie was about 2 hours.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so the runtime did not do it much favors.
I also noticed, I looked up on the Wikipedia page, 3 people edited this movie. Is the editing...
Yeah, no, that would make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Now that you've mentioned that, because the editing, as I mentioned, the first half hour seemed like it really needed to be done again. Mm-hmm. Because there's so many scenes that just weren't working or weren't funny or just took too long to give you simple pieces of information.
Right.
There's just a lot of things that just didn't need to be there.
Does the movie try at all to, like, make a comment politically about, like, the drug war or anything?
No, not
like
at
that?
all. And that's, like, I was kind of looking forward to a movie that just, it can borrow elements of that. And, of course, you can always find a message in that if you want.
Yeah.
But it looked like it was, for the most part, just about the story and not necessarily trying to make a statement. So I'll say, to its credit, it was not trying to be preachy at all.
Well, that's good. That sucks that Sharlto Copley isn't a standout, because pretty much everything I've ever seen him in,
Right.
he usually is.
I think I may have mentioned this on the podcast before, but he was phenomenal in Free Fire.
Oh, yeah. One of the him and Armie Hammer were my favorites.
Right, and I was kind of surprised. I think he was a little miscast, maybe, because he's supposed to be this mercenary who's changed his ways,
Okay.
which I thought could have been probably funnier if they'd cast the right person.
That sucks.
Like, if they were trying to go the full goofy route, like someone like Will Ferrell, because he works in a missionary now or whatever, so he's doing, like, Habitat for Humanity kind of stuff across the world.
Okay.
And he says, his brother calls him up, says, you got to track down this guy, who's David Oyelowo's character. What is it?
Harold?
Harold Soyinka.
Yeah.
Yeah. Harold Soyinka. He's like, you got to find this guy, Harold Soyinka. And he says, I don't do that anymore. And he says, no, you gotta. And I can't even remember. I think at one point he decides he has to kill him or something. There's just a lot of moving pieces. And I felt like they should have chopped it down. It's just, this is one of those things where I feel like the script felt like a first draft.
Yeah.
This just reeked of a first draft, and it needed rewrites, or the editing also didn't help. But I feel like this could have been a good movie had they spent a little more time working on the fine details a little more.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
But I'm glad you did end up actually seeing a movie that you did enjoy over these past few weeks, which was...
Thoroughbreds.
Yes, that was
excellent movie.
That was another movie I was really looking forward to. Of course, that was with Olivia Cooke and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, that's correct.
So what, I guess, overall, how did you feel about it?
I really liked this because this was unique in that it was a very psychological, sort of horror-ish thriller, in that a lot of what made it scary was the dialogue.
Yeah.
The dialogue was just so gripping and intense. It's one of those scenes where you're so locked into what they're saying because you think about the ethics of what they're discussing with each other.
Yeah.
Especially because the plot, as you know, is they're
trying to kill the stepdad.
Yeah, the stepdad of Anna Joy Taylor. Is that her name?
Yeah, and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah. God damn it. I keep getting these names mixed up.
Switched around.
Jesus Christ. What is it again?
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya Taylor-Joy. Okay. Anya Taylor-Joy's character, Lily, her stepdad's a huge prick. But what's interesting is, and you think about this as the movie goes on, like you sort of change your perception. You think, wow, this guy is a complete asshole. But you think, how bad is he really?
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where it's like, he is a jerk, but like, how far does that mean you have to take it to deal with him? And that's kind of what I like is the conversations they have, especially the one, I guess this is spoilers, where Amanda, played by Olivia Cooke, suggests it.
Yeah.
It's amazing how the flip just switches the whole movie, because you're initially introduced to her and she's just super off-putting and clearly a sociopath.
Yeah.
But you're not fully aware of how bad it gets, and then she suggests that, and it kind of becomes a sort of...
There's a lot of moral intrigue.
Moral intrigue and all that ambiguity stuff, but at that point, it becomes clear with a big decision to do something that awful. Lily kind of takes back is taken back and sort of looks at her like, what? No.
Yeah.
And she just basically says, you're crazy, and that shit's not gonna fly. That's not like how normal people think. Mm-hmm. And then Amanda is just kind of thinking, whatever, suit yourself.
Yeah.
And it becomes sort of a puppet master-esque game. Because you're wondering, the suspense is, how is this going to play out? And it's not really all that predictable.
Yeah.
Which is one thing I don't really care about, like, predictability too much in movies, as long as it's not, you can literally tell the whole movie from the poster, which I won't name movies, but
yeah,
it can happen. That wasn't a concern as much as I was surprised that it wasn't really as predictable as you'd think. The way the pieces move is not how you expect.
Okay.
And I sort of got the impression that the audience was also very surprised, or at least the audience I saw it with was very surprised at this movie just in general. Mm-hmm. Because the movie is funny, but it's very, very unsettling. That's the one thing, that's the word I would use to describe this. Because there's almost no scenes where there isn't some sort of strain between characters. There's very little, even the basic formalities of, hi, hello, how are you, kind of, every scene, there's some sort of friction.
How are the supporting characters?
That's something that was also really good, because the stepdad, for instance, he wasn't an archetypal douchebaggy stepdad number one. It's not like he just walked in. It's like, hey, is this your sandwich? Just like takes a shit, and it's like, like eat that, and like,
yeah,
like I don't know, like we're watching TV. It's like, but we're watching a movie. Like, fuck that, I'm turning on the game.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna hit you both if you don't get me a beer.
Yeah,
like it wasn't like super over the top. Like he was a believable character. And the late Anton Yelchin.
Yeah,
he was really good in this.
Yeah, it sucks.
And his part was small, but he played it. I don't know what else to say. Like he played it well.
Yeah.
I think though it's hard to talk about the side characters just because the main two were so good, especially Olivia Cooke.
Some people have been calling this kind of a revisionist, like modern film noir. What do you think about that?
In a lot of ways, yeah, because what's her name? Amanda is sort of
femme fatale.
Yeah. But it's not in the same sort of like vampy, flashy way that she's not a seductress like Barbara Stanwyck would be in
Double Indemnity.
Yeah, not at all like that. But it is amazing how she is extremely manipulative. And the thing you realize about Lily, is that you can kind of tell she teeters on the edge of a lot of the same mental problems that Amanda has. But it's just all it takes is a push sometimes.
Yeah. How were there any high school elements, and if so, were they believable? Were they funny?
They were pretty believable because Anton Yelchin plays this character who's sort of a towny loser. So he's like a small-time drug dealer, but he also works at a country club or something cleaning dishes. But he keeps saying, 10 years from now, I'm going to be running the whole East Coast. And you sit there thinking about the character, wow, what a loser. But it's not in a way that makes you think no one's like that. Like it's unrealistic that he's thinking that way. You think, yeah, it's unrealistic, but you've always met people who have these big plans or whatever, or just his delusion seemed real.
Yeah. How does this movie stack up against other dark comedies? I guess a comparison I made, and I haven't seen the movie, but like a movie like Fight Club.
I don't know about that. Fight Club's a little headier in terms of overarching philosophy. This is very specific because this movie, the one thing that's amazing, most of the movie is just screen time of Olivia Cooke and
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yes, I was going to say it wrong again. Anya Taylor-Joy and Olivia Cooke are just on screen together for most of the movie. Mm-hmm. And it's a very small cast. There's a couple scenes, like there's a house party where you meet Anton Yelchin, mm-hmm. and all these high school kids are like, "You're a creep. We heard about you."
Yeah.
But it's done in, a funny way. And I think the main point I'm trying to make, though, about circling back to comparison to Fight Club is that I'll say it's like Fight Club in that a lot of the humor is sort of shocking. Mm. And again, unsettling would be the word of the day for this movie. Mm. But Fight Club was about, I would say, more broad stroke themes. And this is specifically about morality of individuals. Mm. And there are other themes tied into it, such as wealth and social interaction, mental health, and all those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I would say it's more focused directly on the question at hand, which is they want to kill the stepdad. Mm-hmm. But obviously, this movie points out the dangers of thinking in absolutes. Yeah. That's the one thing, because again, that's what you... I'm just gonna go in spoilers. This is just fucking impossible to talk about without spoilers. Anyway, the point is, like, as you go along, at first, when she said, first suggested, she's like, "Get the fuck out of my house." Mm-hmm. And then Olivia Cook is just slowly walking out, mm-hmm. thinking, she'll probably change her mind. And of course she does. Mm-hmm. And then it just gets, like, clearer and clearer that Olivia is just a psycho and just has problems. Mm. But then it also becomes clear that Lily really the whole time has been putting on a facade. She's almost as bad mm-hmm. as Amanda. And she seems like the kind of person, surrounded by the right people, she would never become anything like Amanda. But as long as Amanda's around to sort of manipulate her, it becomes clear that she can unlock something bad in Lily. And then eventually they agree to do it. But she said, Olivia's so calculating. Mm-hmm. It's in the way she talks about it, so creepy. She acts like she's talking about building a fence. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, we wouldn't do it. We just hire someone else and have airtight alibis and be far away. Mm-hmm. It's just all this funny shit. So they hire Anton Yelchin to do it, but it doesn't work out. Mm. And then eventually, the last scene is gut-wrenching.
Really?
Well, I don't want... You haven't seen it, though,
no.
So I won't give away the ending. I couldn't talk about certain scenes without bringing certain specifics up. But yeah, right. It's an amazing work on the human psyche, if you will. Yeah,
I'm glad one of us saw a movie that was pretty decent this week.
Well, that's the thing, is I was not satisfied with what I saw in Gringo, so I'm like, I gotta see another movie. So I saw this. I saw something else that weekend. I can't remember. Oh, no. I saw
Tomb Raider?
No, I saw Strangers, and then I saw Gringo, and then this.
Okay.
I also saw Tomb Raider. It was all right. More on that next week, possibly.
Yes.
But I would say the only small complaint I had about this movie, it's very minuscule, is there are certain shots that sort of lingered for too long. Mm-hmm. And I get that you want to, I guess, express a mood or something, or there's something about the scenery in which the action's taking place that you want to represent or whatever. But there's just certain times where it's like, this is 30 seconds mm-hmm. of almost nothing happening. There's no need for this to be this long. Mm. And, of course, there was only like 2 or 3 shots like that. Mm-hmm. And some scenes actually utilize it very well. But I can't say too much about that, because that's a big spoiler territory. Because the things that I've told you about, they're not really... It's not like a bombshell and I've ruined the movie for you. Mm. But yeah.
That's good. I'm glad, you enjoyed it. What would you end up giving it?
I'd give this a 4.5 out of 5.
That's really good. That's really
solid.
Or
on your heathen backwards scale.
That'd be a 9.
A 9 out of 10.
It would.
Yeah, but overall, it was an excellent movie, and I think the whole point of it was, yeah, the stepdad's an asshole, but does he deserve to be murdered? And mm-hmm. clearly, he didn't. Oh, but actually, it's a funny story. One thing I noticed, so I really liked the movie. Everyone, I think I may have mentioned this, but how no one else liked it in the mm-hmm. theater. But the things people said when we were leaving, I didn't like that at all.
Oh, God.
It was too dark. And I looked around the audience. I'm thinking, did these people think this was about horses? and then the favorite, well, she wasn't a very good friend. Like, I mean, these people, what they're saying, some of it was true. Like, yeah, Amanda was not a very good friend.
But they don't get it.
Yeah, it's like, this was... No, not even that. It's like, do you know what you bought a ticket to?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like people thought it was going to be quirkier for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of those movies, and some of them I kind of like hate the whole deal. Like, murder is fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no. I mean,
Be like if someone watched The Revenant and was like, I just don't get why Leo was so angry at that bear.
yeah. Well, it was too violent.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the point. It was showing that the frontier was shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was, I don't know. I feel like people just maybe didn't know what they're getting themselves into.
Well, maybe like Fight Club, it'll be a cult classic in due time.
Hopefully. Yeah, but the point was, what made it funny is, like, wow, these people are deranged, and it's almost, like, uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the way the humor worked. But overall, yes, Thoroughbreds in theaters near you, or near whoever, go see it.
And not Gringo or Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah, that's right. All right, moving along, we've got a new game for you. It's called Dream Team. The rules are simple. One person proposes a scenario, and the other player must think of a dream team of movie or TV characters in which they believe would best be able to complete this task. And then at the end, the player who proposed the scenario has to decide if the dream team given by the other player would complete the mission or fail it.
Sounds simple enough?
All right, Robert, what's your scenario?
All right. Number 1, you need 3 people to accompany you to a, quote, getting dressed up for the big event montage at a mall. Who would be the 3 people to shake their heads at the ridiculous outfits that you choose, and then eventually nod together when you find the right one?
Is like Pat Benatar music playing during this?
Ideally.
Okay. I'm going to go with Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China.
Nice.
Okay, I know. You know the guy who just not nods, he just shakes his head at everything with that exasperated expression.
Oh,
from Happy Gilmore.
Oh yeah, what's his name?
Doesn't matter. That guy.
Yeah.
And well, I'm gonna go with Zoolander, since he'd be, he knows his fashion.
Okay. I like that. I think Zoolander would of course lead the pack on that.
Right.
He would have the right know-how as to get you in the right place, get you nice and dressed up for the event. I don't know though. I don't know if I saw it's Lee Trevino. From Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore. I don't know if he would ever nod. Because doesn't he ever...
you're right.
Doesn't he always just shake his head?
I think Zoolander could possibly override his opinion, though.
Yes. I'm sure he would be confused as to why the local nursing home orderly would be all of a sudden a supermodel.
Oh, wow.
Deep cut.
6 degrees of separation there.
There you go. But I like that. I'm gonna give you. You know what? I'll give you the point. I'll say they succeed because Jack Burton's there as the mediator to get them on. To solve problems.
Yeah.
So
Jack, what Jack Burton always says at a time like this?
What's that?
What the hell?
There you go.
Okay. My scenario. Name a dream team of 3 characters that must coach a youth curling team to win the cash prize in a local tournament. But the catch is, these 3 guys plan on just winning the prize money and just leaving town and sharing it with none of the players.
Oh, man.
So basically just pick 3 complete bastards.
Oh, jeez. I would pick... one of them would have to be Tyler Durden. Just because he's, he's a nihilist. What the fuck is curling anyway? Where's the honor in that? Shit's for myself. So
he could get people to go along with it too.
Yeah, Tyler Durden would be the charismatic leader. I would choose. God, this is difficult. Ronnie Barnhart from Observe and Report.
Oh, the guy.
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen plays.
Yes, just because I feel like he'd be the whole mall cop thing not working out for him. He'd need the cash.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh man, Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite, just because I feel like he'd be able to get in on any sort of get-rich-quick scheme, curling involved or not.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm going to say that they become very successful at this because
Okay.
because Ronnie would not only want to do this, but he would listen to Tyler Durden's every word.
Yes.
He would just completely go along with it, and Rico just kind of doesn't care. But the problem with Tyler Durden is he doesn't stop at just one curling tournament.
No, it becomes whatever the hell
becomes
the
a problem.
project mayhem of curling would be.
Yeah, he just steals money from local town after local town.
They'd run him out of town.
Basically. And he goes so far that, because this would be a Tyler Durden thing to do, gets plastic surgery, fake IDs, because social media, he'd get caught immediately.
Yeah.
But I don't know, he'd find a way to keep doing this. So you know what? I'll give you the point.
Okay,
They'd
good.
be very successful.
See, when you initially said you need to have 3 coaches for an Olympic curling team, I'm like, Herb Brooks, Miracle, Kurt Russell.
Yeah,
But
not that easy.
no.
All right, what's your scenario?
All right. My next scenario is you are forced to participate in a Billy Madison-style Olympic or academic decathlon where you have to go against a rival school. Who would be the other 4 players on your team?
Okay, 4 players on my team.
And I'm going to make a rule here and say Billy Madison can't be one of them.
Okay. All right. First of all, I'm going to choose Ivan Drago for all of the physical events, like the running and any sort of
Endurance,
any of the athletic events.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen for
Okay.
all the math and physics.
Yes.
And let's see, I'm gonna go with the teacher from Adaptation for the English portion.
Robert McKee.
Yes. I'm gonna go with him because he'll just because his stuff will be subjective, right? Mm-hmm. He'll be the arts guy. Okay, so he'll just shout down the judges till they agree with him.
Yes.
Wait, so I got Ivan Drago, Robert McKee. What was the other one I had?
You had Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan for physics. So I got 2 left.
Well, no, you got 1 left.
Oh, 4 people.
4, yeah.
Okay, and then finally, he'll help with some of the athletics, specifically diving. The Rodney Dangerfield's character from Back to School.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I'm going to give you the point there because I feel like most of them would get along.
And then Dr. Manhattan would just obliterate anyone who disagrees with him.
That's true. He's kind of just like, he's like the gauntlet being thrown down. There's not really a whole lot you can do.
Yeah.
So either way, there's gonna be a victory here.
Okay. All right. Moving along. Your next scenario. You need 5 characters to rescue a diplomat from a compound surrounded by cannon fodder bad guys. Now, again, like your stipulation, you are not allowed to use John Matrix from Commando.
Oh, okay. Well, I would choose John McClane because he's crafty. And he can keep low to the ground and, take guys out one by one without being seen.
And without shoes.
Without shoes either. No shoes needed. Had to pick John Rambo.
Okay.
Because he's just good at that. He's good at killing mass amounts of people.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'd pick Dutch from Predator. Different Arnie character.
Oh, that is such bullshit. Fine.
I picked
I'll allow
Dutch
it.
because he also, like John McClane, is good at hiding, but he also he's like an intermediate between John McClane and John Rambo.
Okay.
He's good at killing a lot of people, but he's also good at staying hidden. I'd have to pick Neo.
Okay.
Also good at killing very many people. Agreeable dude, pretty unemotional. And then finally I'd have to pick just in keeping with the genres going on here, I'd have to pick Detective Inspector Lee from Rush Hour.
Okay.
Because he's pretty agreeable. I don't know how he wouldn't really, I don't know. Would he kill anybody? I don't know. I think he could find a way. He definitely has it in him to do so. And he's got history with diplomats.
You know what? Well played.
Yes.
But unfortunately, you don't get the point.
Uh-oh.
Because Neo reveals that to them that they're in the Matrix, and it makes John Rambo go fucking crazy, and he kills all of them.
Oh, fuck.
Except Neo, of course.
Yes, because Neo knows Kung Fu.
Yeah,
Or-
Neo
he's got
Neo can dodge bullets, so he unfortunately has to put Rambo down because he just loses his mind because he realizes he's in a simulation.
Oh man!
And John Rambo doesn't like being fucked with.
I should have picked John Wick.
Yeah, well, you didn't.
Too late.
Too late. You don't get the point. I'm sorry.
No. Okay. Well, this is an easier scenario.
Okay.
You're the captain of an intergalactic starship looking to explore the galaxy.
Ooh.
Choose 5 people to fill out your command bridge.
This is so easy, and this exact question was in The Babysitter.
Really?
That shitty movie that McG made.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
All right. New question. So you are still the captain of a ship, but
All right.
this ship is being attacked by a xenomorph. Who would you fill out your crew with to die slow enough to give you a chance to escape?
Oh, so people who I want to buy me time getting picked off one by one.
Yes.
And Ripley obviously is
Ripley or
not
any-
a feasible choice.
Yes, none of the
Okay, so
alien canon characters. Ever.
Excluding alien characters.
Yes.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to go... Oh, this is easy. I'm going to go with Eddie Caputo from Child's Play.
Okay.
Because he was the first to die.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Tina from A Nightmare on Elm Street. Because she was the first to die. I'm going to go with... oh, I know. The aunt or whoever that Jamie stabs in Halloween 4 at the very end.
Okay.
She'll die last.
Yes.
Whoever she is. So I got how many? That's 3, and I need 2 more.
Yes.
Okay, and then actually, the aunt will not die last. You know who will die last?
Who's that?
For my 4th pick, I'm going to choose the bully from a terrible movie that I told you about that I saw called Ginger Clown.
Okay.
Because he dies like 80 minutes into this movie. So, and he's the only person to die in this movie. A horror movie with with a body count of 1. So he will certainly buy me some time. He'll die last, but for my 3rd to last to die and 5th and final pick, I'm going to choose Officer, whatever the hell his name is, Officer Dewey. Officer Dewey from Scream.
Okay.
Because he won't die, maybe, but he'll at least appear to be dead, which will at least keep the monster occupied for me to get a chance to escape in my escape pod.
Okay, I like that. I like those choices a lot. I will award you a point for that. Those seem like solid choices.
Well, because they're all gonna die first.
Pretty much.
Or last. But yeah, I think I'd definitely buy myself some time. Alright, Robert, for your 3rd and final scenario, you need 4 characters to chain themselves to the youth center to stop the bulldozers from Money Corp Inc. from knocking it down to make room for a new shopping mall. What do you got?
Oh, no.
Money Corp Inc. is coming, man.
Oh, man. I don't know a lot of characters that are like mopey. Oh, okay. Maybe Jake Sully from Avatar, because he's trying to stop the bad guys from taking down that giant-ass tree.
Okay.
And he failed at it, but you know what?
So
May it be what it be.
All right.
Him, I'm going to pick Leo from That 70s Show, because I feel like he'd be totally down with that cause, man.
Okay.
I'm also going to pick, what's his name? The lead singer of the band from Almost Famous, Billy Crudup's character.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like he'd totally also be down with that.
Right.
Because
Because rock and roll is trying to change the world.
Yeah, and then Superman, because he could stop the bulldozer and also not get bulldozed by the bulldozer.
Well, shit, you found a hole in my little plan. Because Sully was like a guaranteed failure, but Superman is literally indestructible. So, unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to give you the point, because the bulldozers would be like, fuck it, just do it anyway. And he'd just, like, crumple them up.
Blow them away.
Yeah. Ice breath them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how do we end up scoring here?
I give you a 2 out of 3 possible.
All right, I think I ended up giving you all 3, so it looks like you beat me in this one.
Just by narrowest of margin.
Indeed.
Alrighty. And so you all know, next episode, we think it's time to bring back What Movie Is This? And now for a quick public service announcement. Today we're going to discuss being a jerk ass at the movie theater. So it seems like being an asshole and being loud or being on your phone or just being disruptive and annoying has been on an exponential climb lately. And we're here to talk to you about putting an end to it.
Yes, it does happen, and I know people have stories about it. I've got a few. Won't go into all of them, but the point is, it still happens. It happens at an alarming rate, and
I just don't get how this is how long have people been going to the movies for? Almost 100 years?
Almost approaching 100 years
yeah.
here.
And all of a sudden, just because there's a lull in sales, they've decided, well, we better do whatever we can to get them in the theater. And it's like, well, number one, make sure that we only show, the huge movies in theaters for longer than a week and a half.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, everyone needs to be pampered, so let's have gigantic recliners so that they can feel like they're at their own living room and that they're entitled.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and let's also have waiters to bring food to these lazy people and interrupt the movie.
Yeah, and talk to them at like full volume sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't get it. My experiences with that, I know you've had a couple experiences with people being on their phones.
Oh my God.
My experiences with that have been a little bit limited. I've more so dealt with a good amount of people who just talk during movies, or they overreact during movies.
And you're saying it's not like a whisper something snarky to your friend next to you quietly.
No, because I do that, and that's fine. I mean, as long as I'm not going to hear it.
Yeah, if no one else can hear you, who cares?
But there are people. This happened the other day. I was watching a movie. I watched Love, Simon in theaters with my girlfriend, and the people behind us were just insufferably loud. And granted, to prove a point here, they were like not cheering, but like they were just like, when there was a twist, they'd be like, "Oh God, I knew it! I knew it was that character! I knew it was that character!" And I'm, like out loud though, like at full volume. So it's like it's not just people being rude or like talking to other people, around them. It's also like you can be rude and like be into the movie. Like there was another thing where like a character said a line and like this dude behind me like turned to his friend like 3 chairs down. Was like, "Hey, did you hear that? You hear that line he said? He said this." No, he said this. And I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Oh, my God.
Like, come on, man. Like, Jesus, there's a movie still playing. Like, you missed lines of dialogue that happen after that funny line.
That's like, that kind of reminds me of something. You've seen the Red Letter Media video, right?
Oh, yeah.
I saw Darth Vader and I clapped.
Yeah.
But they're so right. It's just like, why does everyone need to clap at things?
Yeah.
Like it's something funny my friend always says when people clap at the end of a movie, which is acceptable.
Yeah.
But my friend said something that's totally true. He said, they can't hear you.
Yeah.
and it's right. You can't hear him. And
yeah.
That just annoys me. It's like every cool action sequence, I better show everyone how awesome I thought that action sequence is. I need to clap.
Yeah.
And then you know what the worst is? When you get a theater on opening night, everyone's doing it. You just feel weird when you don't do it with them.
Yeah.
It's just like, God, what do I do?
It becomes that episode of Seinfeld where like everyone's looking at you and it's like, who doesn't want to wear the ribbon? It's like, who's not clapping? It's just like, come on, I just want to watch the movie.
It's like, I enjoyed this as much as you do. It's not like a concert where you're like seeing the people who are entertaining you.
It's like, I'm one of those guys that like, I will be, I'll get out of the theater real quick because I want to speak to the person or the people I'm with about it outside of the theater.
Oh, yeah.
Or like in the car. I'm like, we got to fucking talk about this, like.
Right.
Or like, sometimes even during the credits or like the lights come up and like as I'm walking out of the theater, I'll like turn to my friend who's next to me and be like, hey, what'd you think? Or shit like that. That's fine. But like the shit where it's like you're openly talking, like having a conversation at full volume in the theater. It's like, what? Like, I don't understand where did we, like, how do people get lost in their lives or they think that's right?
It's because of the way, like, new movie theaters are. Well, but then we have to blame some of this on our lovely generation.
Oh, sure.
Everyone just, again, I'm not saying, like, I'm not trying to sound, as you've said many times, old man yelling at cloud.
Yeah.
But, because, like, I have a cell phone, it's not like, and all that stuff. I have a Facebook or whatever. but I don't see the need to constantly be on these things all the time, especially not at a movie. Mm-hmm. That's the other thing, is it makes me wonder how much people really like or dislike these movies. It's like, how can you judge?
Or TV.
Yeah.
You know, because being at home is even more comfortable than being in a theater. So it's
Right.
like, if I know somebody who's like constantly on their phone and then they recommend a show to me, you know,
Yeah.
I'll be like, how much of the show have you actually
Yeah,
watched?
really.
It's like,
do you really like it?
yeah. Or
It's
was
like-
it just like you won a particular episode, won a particular game of Angry Birds while watching this episode, and you know were excited while watching it?
It was nothing but action scenes and occasional parts where they were boring and I played Angry Birds.
Yeah,
But
So-
people do that at theaters. Like when I saw Tomb Raider, there's a kid next to me. There's not a kid, he was like 20. Mm-hmm. He was on his phone. Anytime there was no one getting like shot or punched or whatever, or like boats capsizing, he had to take out his phone. And I don't know. I feel like when I hate that I even have to say anything. It's like, really? Mm-hmm. Is he serious? Has he been to a movie theater ever? And he kept doing it. He did about 3 times, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let this go because it's annoying, but I just don't feel like being confrontational at all. He did it a couple more times, and then I think it was about the 5th or 6th time I'd had enough, and I just turned to him, can you please stop that? It's distracting. And he looked at me like I threatened to, fucking
murder his dog. Or
yeah, like kill his dog or like something. Like he looked at me like I was crazy. Like, oh God,
Yeah.
I've made a mistake. It's like, yeah, you've made a mistake.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
Well, that was what I was also
At the
gonna
very
ask.
least, At the very least, though, he did stop.
Yeah.
But of course, he let out these like sighs at all the boring. Like it became by the 5th or 6th time I could predict, and it was distracting my watching the movie because I was thinking like, I'm gonna see that little fucking screen in 10 seconds, aren't I?
Yeah.
Because it's like, a dialogue scene between like Laura and one of the characters, and it's like, oh great, here we go,
Yeah.
talking in dialogue. This kid clearly can't stand that.
Yeah.
So story development, not that it was like the greatest story ever, but still,
Yeah.
it's like make your opinion after the movie, not during it,
Yeah.
which is essentially what he's doing. So it got to the point where I could predict. I'm like, all right, he's taking it out. And then the final time, he just turned it on, and I just jumped on it. I'm like, no, before he could finish.
Well, that's what I was going to ask is like, I guess, what are some of your, or just one or two of like your worst like theater experiences where either people were talking too loud or people flipped out at other people for being an asshole or something? We have one, sort
Well,
of.
we have one.
It's a weird one.
Yeah, but okay, I don't know. Oh, I just want to point out this kid also ordered food.
What did he order?
It doesn't matter. He's just lazy and needs a gigantic meal to watch a movie.
Just get some fucking goobers and shut up.
Seriously.
Something. I don't know, some junior
I'm not
mints.
okay. I'm not saying the meals are completely why. I'm just saying it sort of seems the big comfy seats. And
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty similar into, all right, sir, here's your Cornish game hen with foie gras confit and
yeah.
Manhattan.
Would you like a foot massage while
Yeah.
I'm sitting here?
Oh, my God. It's just like, whatever.
It's
I do feel like an old man screaming, like,
Whatever happened to snow caps?
it's just like, but it is getting a little ridiculous.
Like,
you know?
I pray this day never comes, and I don't want to be predicting the future here. Could you imagine how horrible going to the movies would be if everyone had the right to pause the movie when they wanted to?
Oh, yeah. Wasn't
It's
that
like, I have to go to the bathroom. It's like, the whole audience groans.
Hold on. I just got a text.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Wouldn't that be the worst?
Oh my God! Wasn't that a bit on Family Guy where like they're at like the retirement community and they're all watching Avatar, like something like that, or like, and they're just pausing and asking
I
questions
don't know,
or whatever.
but that's that. Well, there you go. That'd be even worse. It's like,
Yeah.
if you ever go to a movie and there's like a 9-year-old, like, hold on. It's like, I don't get it. Okay, hold on. It's like, well, everyone's like, hey, I need to explain this to my 9-year-old daughter. Fuck off.
Yeah. God.
That'd be terrible. But yeah, worst experiences of that. Well, I can tell you one time it was more banterous. Mm-hmm. It was more or less accepted.
Okay.
Because I saw that movie, or it's a remake, I guess. Sorority Row, which was
boy.
like that slasher from 2008 or 9-ish. It was a while ago at this point. But it got to the point where everyone was having such a good time just kind of talking shit about it, because it's pretty laughable. I mean, I think it's an entertaining slasher or whatever, but it's definitely like not upper echelon type movie. And it got to the point where people are just shouting shit at the screen, but it made everyone laugh. So that was a rare exception. But you had to test the waters. Like, people were laughing loudly or like pointing like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
once you get like the person who said, are you fucking kidding me? And then once he tested the waters and realized everyone was okay with this, but those are very far and few.
Yeah, 1 in a million.
And I guess the only other experience that I can like think of off the top of my head, at least, was when we saw Interstellar.
Yeah.
And like, we were just sitting there, and then all of a sudden we just heard that guy, "Shut the hell up, please!"
Yeah.
It's like screamed it.
And it was like as I was whispering something to you very quietly, so I was like, "Oh fuck, did this guy hear me? Like, was I in earshot of him?" But like, I turned and he wasn't even looking at me. He was like turned to somebody else behind him, like a bunch of rows away.
I don't even. Yeah, but he was pretty far away from us too.
Yeah, it was weird.
That's the thing. Yeah.
I was like, okay. The only experience I know is I saw a movie called A Monster Calls, and that was like the one with like Liam Neeson's like the giant tree monster or whatever. It doesn't matter. But like,
oh wait, no, I can remember one.
What's that?
This was weird because this was so bad, but it was also a why. This was like I was in like 6th grade, but I remember using profanity anyway to tell this person to be quiet.
Oh no!
Someone answered their phone in the theater.
I had that recently.
Oh my god! It's like
someone answered their phone during it was War of the Planet of the Apes, and it was at a theater in Kenosha, and so spoilers for War for the Planet of the Apes, I guess.
Yeah.
It was during the final scene where where Caesar is dying.
Yeah.
And like he's saying shit to Maurice, and it's like very labored breaths and like important dialogue, and this fucking kid to my right, like 3 seats over, picks up his phone and is like, "Hey man, no, I'm in a movie right now." And I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm like, please shut the fuck up. This is the end of this trilogy. Like, you couldn't, like...
Did you say anything to him?
I couldn't. That's the thing is, like, I lacked the ability to cross the social boundaries that this kid did. It's like, I was like, I can't say anything to this kid.
That's what I'm saying. It's just...
I have to have respect. Like, too much, some would argue, but fuck, man.
No, that's what I'm saying with the kid next to me, with the phone. Mm-hmm. But I figured... I gotta say something because it's ruining my enjoyment of the movie. Which, if you bought a ticket, you at least deserve that.
Yeah.
Like if this kid thinks a ticket gets you a right to lounge around and on a huge recliner and eat food and just be obnoxious, then I certainly at least get the ability to, I don't know, watch the movie without distraction.
Yeah.
That's the thing, though. It's like, my other thing about people like that is you feel like if they're this, irrational to begin with, what are the chances they're going to listen to me?
Yeah.
Because
especially when they're with friends.
Oh my God.
And they're a group.
Right?
Yeah.
Other than that, I wasn't in this row. I guess this was just kind of obnoxious. Mm-hmm. It was sort of like right out of a cliche in a high school movie.
Really?
These kids in front of me at one of the 2 times I saw Black Panther. Mm-hmm. These kids were in front and they were just like, whatever. This was like after the post-credits scene. Mm-hmm. Or no, it was during the credits. So people are talking, waiting for the post-credit scene.
Right.
And they were just throwing shit at each other. And it hit this one kid like a couple seats down. I was like, okay, guys, can you not throw things?
What the hell?
I don't know. Just like, what the fuck? Also, I mean, to me it seems like all these theaters now serve alcohol. Correlation? I think so.
Yeah.
Where do 90% of assaults happen? Bars.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying you shouldn't serve alcohol. It's just... Actually, I don't know. Maybe I am.
It's like,
do people...
would it help? I don't know.
That's the thing, is I want to know, what is it with the rise of theater douchebaggery.
I don't know, and it could be a lot of things.
I've noticed it over the last few years.
It could be just like a lack of appreciation, for just the art, or like the experience of watching a movie, and like how it's a very sacred experience to Americans. At least I
would say
hope.
to a lot of the world.
Yeah, to the world. I mean, it's going to the movie and sitting down and in the dark and watching these images flicker across the screen is magical. And I just maybe the coming generations are like just not sort of thrilled by that anymore. I don't know. That's just me bullshitting. I don't know.
No, I can kind of agree with you. I think people are a little jaded to things. Take music, for instance. Mm-hmm. When a new band comes out, people don't really care. It's just like, oh, is it blowing up on social media, brah?
Yeah.
Like, do they have a Snapchat? It's just, it doesn't seem like people care about, they care more about the image of what a band may be rather than, like, the music they're making.
That explains young people.
Yeah.
But what about old people?
Oh, old people not shutting up at theaters? Because
I think there's a window. It's like between like 30 and like 55. It's like
are usually fine.
Usually fine. Anything above or below that,
yeah.
That's of all the people I've ever had a problem with in theaters, it's been people of those demographics.
I don't know. With older people, it's just like
I'd imagine it's just like
they've been around. They don't give a shit.
Fuck it. If I have a problem with this movie, it's gonna hear it. Or it's like if I'm having a good time with this movie, I'm gonna let everybody know.
Yeah.
That happened during of all movies, Phantom Thread.
Yeah.
There's like a group of like 50 something 60-year-old women behind us that they were laughing, like dying laughing throughout the whole movie, but like excessively. Where it's like it's okay to laugh, but it's like this isn't a fucking comedy. Like calm the fuck down.
I don't know. Sometimes it can be hard not to. Like when my friend and I had I don't know if I'd call it displeasure or pleasure of seeing Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li.
Oh, geez, yeah.
But there was also like 6 people in the theater, and everyone was laughing at all the bad parts.
Yeah.
Like there's one guy who was like, oh my God. Like every time there's like a cheesy line. Oh. But again, similar to the experience with Sorority Row, it was sort of, I guess, unofficially agreed upon unanimously that people could just be annoying during this one.
Yeah.
It was bad. But this was also not opening night. Mm-hmm. It was nothing of the sort that would suggest, like, sit down, shut up.
Mm.
But yeah, it's gotten pretty bad, and I guess we'll have to get to the end of it. But yeah, public service announcement. Number 1, shut up during the movie. Number 2, get off your fucking phone
away.
Yeah, put your phone away. Number 3, if you must say a couple things, fine. Just use your best judgment and keep it to a minimum volume.
Yeah, and feel out the situation. If you're in a movie where this happened to me with Lights Out, if you're in a movie where the entire audience is like jazzed and like really, really into it, and the situation feels right for you to scream or be freaked out or say something like, oh my God, then do it. But if everyone's quiet and you're watching fucking Doubt or something, it's like, no, shut up.
You're watching some drama and you're just like, let out like a fat bastard style, like.
Just imagine someone's like reaction on that, like, really? This movie.
The main point we're trying to make is let's make theater going a fun experience again.
Yes, make it respectable.
Right, and again, fun if everyone's cheering and hollering, go ahead.
Yes.
But if it's quiet, shut up.
Yes.
All right, that's the end of that. And now, for a new topic, we're going to just have a discussion. Today's discussion is about movies that utilize hybrid live action and animation.
Yes, and the history of it, and eventually, which are our favorites.
Well, it's actually funny is that you mentioned that the history, basically the first ever animated film, or the first surviving animated film, Gertie the dinosaur.
Yeah,
it's completely hybrid because there's a presenter. It's a silent movie, and he's just like ladies and gentlemen, Gertie, and then he draws it on the board.
Oh, wow.
And then you see it move. It's really cool. Have you ever seen it?
I haven't.
No, you should check it out. It's really interesting.
Well, shit. I mean, that's a whole sequence.
Right? So go figure that one of the earliest animations ever was a hybrid.
Huh.
Which kind of makes sense because, the old, Lumiere stuff with special effects?
Yeah.
They kind of felt like, look at this. Look at what we figured out to do. How to do.
Yeah. That and a lot of these original ones, the first ones that are coming up here are a lot of the Disney ones, like Fantasia, Saludos Amigos, The Three Caballeros, Song of the South, Fun and Fancy Free, and Melody Time.
Oh, yeah.
And the one that I remember most is obviously Song of the South because, what's the song? Zippity Doo Dah has
Zippity Doo Dah, yeah.
That's partially animated, partially live action. But those I remember. And then the other one that came in here was Mary Poppins, which is another, of course, Disney film that utilizes it at one point.
And it seems pretty obvious that it's sort of a staple of Disney.
Yes.
And not that Disney's the only studio to do this, because obviously there's very prominent ones, especially from Warner Brothers.
And then, of course, there's Peach Dragon, which utilizes it even more all throughout the movie.
Peach Dragon was scary, man.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I thought, the gross hillbilly family or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That just, really freaked me out when I was a little kid.
Yeah. I feel you there sometimes. Some of those early Disney movies,
That's what I remember from that movie, not the dragon.
Yeah. So there's that. Here's one, a little mention. For a scene that is animated, Annie Hall.
Oh yeah, that's got a
30-second bit in it where it's animated.
That makes sense though, because that movie's just so trippy the whole way through.
Yeah, and then Pink Floyd, The Wall.
Yeah, what's cool is when I saw the Wall concert, they play, they build an actual wall on stage. And the wall is white, obviously.
Right.
Because it's just white bricks like the album cover. And they project... This just becomes a big, projector screen. And they play, the trial?
Yeah.
So they play the animated sequence from the movie. And again, that movie is ambitious in a lot of ways. And it's very artful.
Yeah.
And strange.
Oh, very strange.
So I almost feel like without animation it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be, I hate using this word, sort of experimental.
Yeah.
In a way. Because it's like a music video.
Yeah, it's almost like a concert movie almost, sort of.
Right. Concert, no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Or like Fantasia, kind of.
Yeah.
So that is definitely one of them, 1982. Another 1982 film, another Disney film, Tron.
Was that? Well, or was that using animation as effects? Because I feel like there's a difference.
Yeah, and rotoscoping too, just animating over stuff. Bakshi did that.
Well, yeah, of course.
Bakshi.
Bakshi made a whole movie like that,
Fire and Ice?
Yeah. Fire and Ice is awesome. You've ever seen it?
I haven't, but
You should check it out. It's really good.
Sadly, the only Ralph Bakshi thing I've ever seen, it's not even Lord of the Rings. It's Cool World. Which is
that's one of two I haven't seen by Ralph Bakshi,
and that is another film released in 1991 that was a movie about a detective going into a toon world to solve a crime. But the other one that came out a couple years before, of course, the one that probably is the most famous for this is Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, and see that movie is awesome.
Yeah,
and what I like about it a lot is. It has Porky Pig or Droopy Dog or whoever else is in it, but it's borrowed interest. That's not the whole point of the movie.
Right.
You like Roger Rabbit and Jessica Rabbit, who, as far as I know, both first appeared in the novel in which the movie was based off of.
Right. So there's that, which is it's just a classic.
Yeah.
But going from there, obviously, I mentioned Cool World already. Going into the late 90s.
Didn't Cool World have a young Brad Pitt or someone?
Oh, sure. He's the protagonist.
Right.
He's the main character in that movie.
And didn't it also... Didn't it have like one of the Baldwins or something?
Well, I
Or
know.
am I making that up?
I know Kim Basinger was in it.
Okay, I knew
She
someone
was
else.
like the femme fatale character that they rotoscoped over her in
Did she
Bakshi fashion.
show up in real life
I don't
or
remember that.
as live action?
Yeah, I don't remember that. I know she's definitely animated.
The basis.
Yes.
Well, they rotoscoped for. I mean, I really like this movie, and I know it's sort of an odd one. Have you ever seen Heavy Metal?
No.
Oh man, it's great.
Yeah, is that which one is that? Who did that one?
It was, I can't remember, but I know it was a big collaboration. A bunch of animation studios made it. Like one was from France, I think a couple from Canada, if I'm not mistaken, and obviously U.S.
Okay, yeah, this one came out in '81.
Heavy Metal, yeah. But the thing was, it's sort of an anthology. But yeah, it's the what's her name, Darna or Lorna or something. The warrior girl was rotoscoped. They used a model as the basis of the rotoscope.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely a lot on this list, and I got to check all these out. But going into the later '90s now, 1996 was a big year.
What we got?
We got Space Jam.
Well, Space Jam is a timeless classic.
Oh, yeah.
I don't give a shit what anyone says.
I mean, especially if you, I mean, that's one of those movies where if you talk about nostalgia, that's one of those movies where nostalgia, I think, is so tied to it, you know, for especially 90s kids. You know, me being born in 93, like, I was at a super impressionable age when I saw it. I was like 3 or 4.
Okay.
And, yeah, I mean, it's just seeing all those characters that I love, you know, Bugs Bunny, you know, Marvin the Martian, just everything, you know, Taz, I mean, God.
All together with Michael Jordan.
With Michael Jordan. Growing up in Chicago and being a Bulls, you know, a young Bulls fan, seeing
Yeah.
Michael Jordan against the, you know, the backdrop of, like, the Toon Land, it's just like, it's, I mean, it was a special movie for many reasons.
It's also, it's kind of weird because that idea sounds so terrible on paper.
Yes.
Okay, my son likes basketball. Okay, guys, what else do we have in our properties, right? Well, we haven't done anything with Looney Tunes in about 50 years.
Yeah.
Okay, what if, now stick with me, basketball players, Michael Jordan especially, teams up with the Looney Tunes? Oh, yeah, and then they'll have an alien invasion, says sarcastic exec number 3.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know I was kidding, right?
Yeah.
But it worked out.
Yeah, no, it did. I think it did.
I mean, I really like the movie, and again, I don't judge it so harshly, but really, I think it is, like, quality for what it is.
Yeah.
Like, the animation is obviously really good.
Yeah.
And I mean, for all the later versions of Looney Tunes that came after it that didn't seem true to the original spirit, they captured the spirit of the characters and their universe pretty perfectly. And don't forget, the human roles were great.
Oh, yeah.
You got Bill Murray,
Wayne Knight
Wayne Knight in there, and then, of course, Dane DeVito
as
brings it as the boss of the Monstars.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, it's a great film. Other 1996 film that probably affected me even more somehow is an interesting addition here because it doesn't use typical 2D animation. James and the Giant Peach.
Oh man,
I mean,
that holds a special place in my heart.
Oh yeah,
long time ago, in the only play that I ever acted in.
Really?
Yeah, I played the centipede.
Really?
I was in 8th grade.
Do you know who plays the centipede in James and the Giant Peach?
Who?
David Thewlis, also known as Ares from Wonder Woman.
No kidding.
Yes.
Wow.
Weird. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I made a gross error. The centipede was Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah,
I was thinking of the mealworm was David Thewlis.
Okay.
But you know, they're both longer insects, so I'm gonna give myself a pass.
Whatever. Yeah, but that movie, there's something just like so creepy about it.
Oh yeah, it's like it was like the James and the Giant Peach was like just creepy enough. Like I could like as a kid.
No, it's not like Pete's Dragon where I'm like, this is too much.
Yeah,
like,
or
I
like
want to watch something else.
Even like Henry Selick, who made James and the Giant Peach, like he also did Nightmare Before Christmas, which I also couldn't do as a kid. Like it just like freaked me out. But like James and the Giant Peach was like just enough creepy. You know, like
Yeah.
there was some sequences in it that were scary, but like also really cool. Like I don't know if you remember the one with like the like mechanical shark that's like trying to eat the peach and shit.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just cool. Like I don't know. It's it's a silly movie and like there are some sequences that are a little fantastical, but the music's awesome. Like Randy Newman, god damn it.
It's pretty amazing that they could make such gross bugs
Yeah.
appealing characters. Like you got this, wasn't it like the spider is French or whatever?
Yeah.
The spider, the centipede's kind of a smart ass.
So yes, I was a big fan.
The one thing I never
that.
got about that is like the rhino's coming to get you.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just
I
like
just thought
what?
that was so like even as a kid, I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah, it's like
This
why
kid
a
doesn't
rhino?
Yeah, why a rhino?
Yeah.
This kid have a bad experience on a safari.
Yeah, it's like the rhino ate your parents. It's just like what? I'm pretty sure like,
seems
do
like
rhinos eat people? Like I'm pretty sure there's like gore people.
yeah. Well, you know what? I think we've stumbled upon the error. They should have written it this way: the rhino speared your parents over and over again, and they died of blood
loss.
trauma and blood loss.
That would be even more like eating is like that's enough, but it's like that's just like
I
a
always-
slow ass death.
Yeah.
Well, moving into the 2000s here. This is
Okay.
where we, in the beginning here, there's some good stuff, but we start to lose steam. Fantasia 2000,
Okay.
which is good. It's not, it's not, Fantasia 1,
Yeah.
but it's good. Osmosis Jones. How about that one? Deep cut.
man,
another Bill
Osmosis
Murray
Jones.
live action animated movie.
Wow. Yeah. But that was similar to James and the Giant Peach in that the live action and the cartoon
Weren't
didn't-
on screen at the same time.
or like they were at the very end for a little bit.
Yeah, oh yeah, in James and the Giant Peach they were.
Yeah, but
And yeah, even in
Osmosis Jones a little bit.
because they're like fighting
that
on the
movie was-
eyelash or whatever.
I really liked a lot of that movie.
Yeah,
because
it's a
it, like,
Farrelly Brothers movie,
It
which is
kind
weird.
of used real science, sort of. Mm-hmm. Well, and it's like the one part, because there's a million of those what goes on in a body movies.
Yeah.
And there's some that kind of are, have a few too many cliches, but that one had a lot of cool ones, like the Dream Theater,
Yeah.
which, of course, is the name of a fantastical progressive rock band.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I just thought like little things like that were really neat and well done. Also, I like the character designs a lot in that.
Yeah. I didn't mind the movie. It's I was kind of growing out of that stuff,
Yeah, a little bit.
but it's good.
Yeah, I didn't have the reaction to Space Jam, but I thought it was a solid movie. Mm-hmm. They really don't make a lot of movies like that anymore.
No. Here's one that'll I don't know if it'll blow your mind, but make you think for a second. Elf.
Oh yeah, because of all the claymation stuff
And
at
the stop motion
the
animals.
south or the
North Pole.
North Pole. Where? Jesus Christ, I can't remember where Santa lives.
I feel ya.
North Pole. I actually like, but that was almost to the point. Like it was totally on purpose.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to.
Well, it's supposed to parody the Rankin Bass stuff.
Yeah. All the Year Without a Santa Claus
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
I like that. And
It
then we
worked
get
really well.
Then in 2003 we get Looney Tunes back in action.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I've heard it's not the best.
Yeah, it's not it really isn't.
Wasn't that right after Mummy 2, if I'm not mistaken?
You mean the Mummy Returns?
Mummy Returns, yeah, whatever.
I think so, because it's 2001 was Mummy Returns, and yeah, Looney Tunes is 2003, so a little bit there.
Yeah, because that was like sort of the beginning of his downtick.
Oh, Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, what happened to that guy?
I don't know, man. He's got some.
I know people sort of thought he was a bad actor or whatever, but I thought he was fine in the things he was in.
I mean, as a kid growing up in the 90s, I respect the hell out of him. You know, George of the Jungle, the first Mummy.
Oh God, George of the Jungle, that was bad.
That's bad, but I mean, like that was a Disney Channel staple for me. Like,
Okay, see, but there's the difference. It's like, you know how there's Space Jam, which I like and
Yeah.
holds a special place in my heart. George of the Jungle, it's halvesies.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I think I knew it was not great when I saw it, and I know that now.
Yeah.
Where Space Jam, any of its flaws, completely unaware of them as a 6-7-year-old kid.
So there's another movie here, Enchanted.
I haven't seen it.
The Amy Adams
Yeah,
one,
I never saw
Patrick Dempsey. I know that had some, what do you call it? Well, some animated scenes, particularly in the beginning and the end, but it's like the whole conceit of that movie is like she comes in from Disneyland and into live action place or something like that.
Okay.
But I heard good things. But pretty much after that, we have, movies that, like Paul, or like...
where it's just like one couple characters.
Or the Smurfs, or, stuff like that. Or
Yo,
like,
you're forgetting a real good one. If
Which
we're
one's
talking
that?
just where there's just characters who are animated in.
Yeah.
Casper.
Oh, yeah. Casper.
Christina Ricci and...
Bill Pullman.
Yes, Bill Pullman.
Eric Idle.
Oh, wasn't he a bad guy in that?
He was like, what was it?
It's been too long since I've seen that.
Well, because there's a bad woman in it. Like, what's her name? Oh, God. Kathy Moriarty, right? Isn't she like the bad guy? Yeah. She's the bad guy, and Eric Idle's like her lackey. Oh,
he
man.
would play that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I remember that one. That one had a good score. Had a good James Horner score.
It did.
God rest his soul.
Rest in peace, man.
But
that was a solid one.
Yeah, I like that. But that's kind of approaching the end of the list. So
yeah, it seems like there's not a whole lot of them.
No.
Well, okay, there's Peter Rabbit.
Yeah, but that's like sheathed in the whole.
Yeah.
It's definitely not as novel. It's like they're made to, movies like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's like, look at this clearly animated character.
Yeah.
Whereas like Peter Rabbit or like the Smurfs is like, it's supposed to be like, oh, these characters are in our world and they look like they're supposed to be real.
Yeah, you're right. It's more so. Well, that's kind of the funny thing about how the evolution of animation has changed, especially obviously with computer animation.
Yeah,
is it has changed from being animation to being this has to mimic real life.
Yeah, this has to look like the real version of what it's based on.
If we want to be technical about it, that therefore means a great deal of Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and Marvel movies are animated movies. If you want to get technical about it, or I mean, I guess that's the wrong way to say it, but there's a lot of animating.
Yeah,
because I mean, visual effects and animation, there's a lot of similar principles. Mm-hmm. And what is CGI? It's pretty much
a different kind of animation.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting how that's kind of changed and how, to your point, that's a thing. That's totally true. The idea of making a hybrid for the novelty is basically non-existent at this point.
Yeah. It's definitely, things have changed, but I guess if you had to pick three, your top three.
Three, okay. Well, obviously I'd go with Space Jam.
Number one?
No, I think Roger Rabbit's a better movie.
Yeah, so it's Space Jam at 3?
Yeah, Space Jam at 3. Well, I don't know. Just without order, Roger Rabbit, Space Jam. I guess James and the Giant Peach. But the thing I've kind of noticed is the only two that really make use of the novelty fully, or the ones that most prominently make use of the novelty of, look at these two things together, are Space Jam and Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Because as we pointed out, Osmosis Jones, the two things are almost mostly exclusive from each other. Well, now that I've taken all the good options, what are your top three?
I just want to let you know you stole my top three.
Okay.
It's pretty much the same.
Okay,
Space
fine.
Jam, Roger Rabbit, and James and the Giant Peach are the ones of note, really, for me that I remember and will always remember.
But how do you order them? I'm going to go Roger Rabbit 1, Space Jam 2, James Giant Peach at 3.
I'll probably do... okay, I'll do Space Jam 3, Roger Rabbit 2, James and the Giant Peach 1.
Okay.
Just because of Randy Newman.
Fair enough.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into this 4th episode of the podcast. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, our YouTube channel, or on SoundCloud.